Canadian Open 2022 rain disrupts opening day in Montreal as Andy Murray's opener against Taylor Fritz postponed. Andy Murray was due to face Taylor Fritz on Court Central, but a 4-hour rain delay forced it to be moved to Tuesday in Montreal. Just 2 points were played across the 3 courts in Quebec before 4 p.m. local time, 9 p.m. British Summer Time, as inclement weather forced a delayed start. The women's tournament, held in Toronto, was also disrupted. Preview: 3-time champ Murray to face Fritz. Shapovalov aims for reset on home turf as Day 1 action gets underway. At the National Bank Open presented by Rogers, Andy Murray finds himself back on familiar ground, both in terms of the Pepperstone ATP Rankings and the hard courts of the Great White North. In June, the Scotsman returned to the top 50 for the first time since 2018, the year he underwent the first of his 2 hip surgeries. The former number 1 is looking to continue that resurgence with a deep run in Canada, where he has raised the ATP Masters 1000 trophy on no fewer than 3 occasions, most recently in 2015. There's plenty of incentive with the U.S. Open looming and a chance to be among the 32 seeds at the year-end Grand Slam. It's still possible to do it. I would just need to have a good run in Canada or Cincinnati, said Murray, whose summer has included a final in Stuttgart and a quarterfinal showing in Newport. It's pretty straightforward. If I was to make a quarterfinal or a semi-final there, I do feel like, if I play very well, that I could do that. The center court lineup on Day 1 in Montreal will also feature Stan Wawrinka versus Emil Ruusuvuori, Diego Schwartzman versus Alejandro Davidovich Fokina, and an intriguing head-to-head between Canadian Denis Shapovalov versus Aussie Alex de Minaur. Shapovalov hopes playing in front of his home fans will prove the spark he needs. After a rough stretch that has, since defeating Nadal to reach the quarterfinals in Rome, seen him drop 8 of 9 matches, the world number 22 would do well to revisit his career breakthrough win, which came on home soil at this same event in 2017. That's the year the left-hander, then just 18, stunned then world number 2 Nadal to become the youngest ever Masters 1000 semi-finalist. Shapovalov is 0-2 in his ATP head-to-head series against de Minaur, who 1 week ago lifted the ATP 250 title in Atlanta for the 2nd time. Elsewhere, Francisco Cerundolo and Karen Khachanov will kick off the opening round action on Court Rogers. Cerundolo is in the midst of a breakout campaign that has seen the 23-year-old Argentine crack the top 100 and overcome countryman Sebastian Baez to capture his first ATP Tour crown in Bastad. American Jensen Brooksby and Kazakhstan's Alexander Bublik will meet for the first time in Montreal. Both players find themselves in top form, Brooksby having reached the trophy tilt in Atlanta, to de Minaur 6-3, 6-3, and Bublik having pushed eventual titleist Maxime Cressy to the limit on grass in the Newport final, falling 2-6, 6-3, 7-6, 3. No. 14 seed Roberto Bautista Agut will take on former UCLA standout Marcos Giron of the United States, while Italy's Fabio Fognini is set to face Denmark's Holger Rune, who since reaching the Roland Garros quarterfinals has suffered opening round defeats in 6 of his past 7 events. I'm always fascinated by watching the way that Andy Murray attempts to problem solve. Andy Roddick on Brits' chances ahead. of Canadian Open 1R clash against Taylor Fritz. Former world number 1 Andy Murray will lock horns with top-ranked American Taylor Fritz in a highly anticipated first-round encounter at the 2022 Canadian Open on Tuesday. Previewing the encounter for the Tennis Channel, Murray's fellow former number 1 player Andy Roddick described it as a pretty good matchup for Fritz. Roddick said that while Murray will have to play at a high level to challenge the young American, he was always impressed by the Brit's ability to problem-solve. Roddick pointed out that Murray's level was not the best in recent tournaments at Newport and Washington, whereas Fritz was locked in for the last couple of months. Speaking about the keys to the match, Roddick said, "Murray will need to make a lot of first serves as he expected Fritz to pounce on his second serve. He also gave the American an edge in his own service games, both Andy Murray and Taylor." Fritz made early exits at last week's City Open. While Fritz retired in the third set of his match against Dan Evans as he trailed 4-1, Murray suffered a tight 3-set defeat at the hands of Mikael Ymer in the opening round. Heading into the year's final slam at the U.S. Open, both players will be hoping to regain their form in Montreal. The duo have landed in the loaded bottom half of the draw, which also features the likes of Carlos Alcaraz and Stefanos Tsitsipas.